Now, here's the issue that this comes down to. Women are going to see the world, frankly, different from men. Women are very emotional. So, of course, they're going to be worried about, what's on the badge and all this stuff. When we look at the UK, right? The UK has about 4 million starving children.
What is this?
Right now. And that doubled since the past 2 years.
My brother, Hotep.
Do you think that children that are hungry care about some badges? They can't eat football badges.
All right, guys. So I got to admit, I'm actually a pretty big fan of Piers Morgan's videos in his show because he has conversations where, again, he features, different sides of the political aisle, and he actually engages in conversation. And even though I might not necessarily agree with everything he says, the guy clearly is a reasonable person, okay? He's grounded in at least common sense and reality, and I kind of respect it because it seems like the UK may be more cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs insane than the US. Now, I don't know because I'm not an expert in European politics, UK politics. I actually really want to visit the UK one day. That is definitely on my bucket list. But from observing on the outside looking in, it seems like the UK is just as woke, if not more woke, than the United States of America because of conversations like this, okay? Where Piers Morgan is going to clearly get frustrated with a couple of woke activists, right? Some soul sisters here who are basically going to advocate for an investigation into the logos of some soccer teams, Manchester United and Manchester City, because they have ships on their club crest, which may, keyword may, have ties to slavery. So the argument here is that they should look into these ships on the crest of these soccer teams because they might be racist, right? Because the ships might be symbolic of slavery, okay? They didn't say it was, hasn't been proven, but they want to waste time and resources on investigating it because it might be racist, okay? And they're going to debate the merits of this investigation into these alleged racist ships, okay? And again, it's just a very silly conversation. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and get into it.
Well, joining me now is the author and playwright Bonnie Greer, TalkTV contributor and lawyer Paula Rhone-Adrien, and the podcast host from across the pond, Hotep Jesus. Well, welcome to all of you. All right, Paula, let's start with you because I know what you're about to say is going to make me infuriated and it's going to be utterly insufferable.
Excellent.
These are two crests that carry images of sailboats.
Yes.
It's got nothing to do with slavery or racism.
If that's your opinion, then you're entitled to have it.
It's a fact.
Well, you don't know that, Piers, and the historians are being asked to look into that. And that's what should properly happen, shouldn't it? Because when you tell us about history and how important history is, what we want to do is to ensure that we have got this right and we are going to grow from this experience.
Yeah, I'm not growing from it.
We're not going to deny it.
I am growing from this experience. I'm growing very annoyed.
And
I'll tell you why.
Why are we annoyed?
Let me tell you why.
Weary
Let me tell you why.
Talk about slavery.
No, I'm not worried about that. I thought slavery.
Tired when I talk about World War I or World War II.
Like everybody I know, I thought slavery was disgusting, and I'm very, very glad that everyone came round to their senses it was disgusting, and that Britain actually led the way in ending the damn thing. Of course I do. Slavery was disgusting. However, it turns out the historians say Manchester didn't adopt ships as an emblem until 1842.
Apparently
35 years after the abolition of slavery.
Yes.
So they would have had nothing to do with it.
And how do we know that? We don't know that. So what you are doing is you are taking one understanding of a situation.
So you're believing the historians that suit your narrative?
It's not what I believe, Piers. Let's be clear about this. We're having a debate. And that's what is important about
this. It's not, Paula.
It's to be able to have a debate about something that happened in history.
We shouldn't be looking at little pictures of ships on a footballer's crest badge. Who cares? Well, got nothing to do with it.
Okay, so I'm trying to play the videos longer, okay? Because some of you guys are always in the comment section saying that I pause the video too much. So I'm going to let them talk longer, okay, before I chime in. But I got to chime in, okay? Fair use here, okay? I want you guys to understand. They're not saying that we know that the ships are connected to slavery, right? What they're saying is that we're looking into it, right? We want to look into whether or not these emblems on these patches are connected to slavery because we want a reason to cry victimhood. We want something to complain about, right? We want something to protest over and say, look, this is how we're victims, right? These slave ships are on the football players' patches. This is racist, right? This is racist. And we should spend resources and time looking into this. Piers Morgan has said, who gives a damn, right? Who cares? Why are we still having this conversation about slavery? Everybody agrees that slavery was bad. And by the way, right, the white man takes all the blame for slavery, right? As if the white man invented slavery, he didn't. But they get no credit for leading the way in ending slavery, which is what happened. Okay, you see how that works? The white man gets all the blame for slavery. Okay, specifically the transatlantic slave trade. They try to pretend like that was the only slavery that ever exists, even though that's not true. The Arabs were engaged in slavery. Africans were. Again, all this stuff, it was going on across the world. Okay, but again, for whatever reason, only the white man did it. Okay, now the white man decides first that, hey, this is bad, right? This is immoral. Let's end it, right? Let's go out our way to end it. No credit whatsoever, right? Again, it's just hilarious how that works. But yeah, I mean, I'm with Piers Morgan on, like, who cares? Okay, let's say the ships are tied to slavery, which, I mean, do we really know? No. Even if they were, how does it affect anybody's life, right? What do you get out of it outside of, again, another reason to cry victimhood? Again, nobody gains anything from that outside of woke activism, right? Again, it's just funny because these are just silly conversations.
Well, clearly, I'm sure the players at Manchester City and Manchester United, those who advocate, show racism, the red card.
No, here's what's going to happen.
They will care about it.
Here's what's going to happen. The Guardian, which has just been caught with its racism trousers down, right, because it turned out they were founded by a bunch of slave owners, right? So they're the last people on earth to be lecturing about this.
Is that right? Aren't they the right people?
No,
actually?
they're not. They're not. Because I found their hand wringing over that utterly ridiculous. I'll tell you why.
Well, they've apologised.
Every single family in Britain, if you go back far enough, you'll have people in their past, hundreds of years ago, who employed slaves, almost certainly.
And therefore?
And therefore, we know that was wrong then. Why should everybody today who had nothing to do with it think it was all terrible spend their entire time apologising for it?
It's about education,
yes.
First of all, just education. And the second thing it's about, and you know this, we always rewrite history. We rewrote World War II because we found out about Bletchley. A person who grew up in the 50s would have a different World War II than a kid now because we found out about Bletchley. So we are getting more intelligent. And that's one thing that's happening. And I mean,
Bonnie, you can't be serious.
Hang on. And the other thing, the United Kingdom was actually on the side of the Confederacy during the Civil War, and in fact was going to send a ship to the Confederacy to fight for it when it was stopped and warned by Lincoln and paid an indemnity to the United States.
Who is going to...
So therefore, we got to investigate this, right? We got to look into whether these ships are racist or not. These ships might be racist because the United Kingdom, sided with the Confederacy, right? Therefore, we need to look into this, okay? They sent the ship. And the worst part about it is what she's saying is not really even true. She's actually not really telling the real history. What she's referring to is what is called the Trent Affair, okay? That was an incident that involved Lincoln getting pissed because Britain, not the UK, but Britain sent mail ships, okay? These were merchant ships that had Confederate diplomats on it, okay? And Lincoln had temporarily seized the ships, and Britain got pissed about it, okay? And Lincoln eventually released the ships, okay? That's what happened. Britain actually remained officially neutral in the Civil War between the North and the South, the United States and the Confederacy, and actually trade decreased 90% from the pre-war period between Great Britain and the Confederacy. It actually resulted in an economic disaster in Great Britain because they could not receive American cotton, right? And a lot of people in Manchester protested out of principle against processing and using American cotton, which came from the South, which came from the Confederacy. Now, They didn't stop trading arms, okay? They still kept sending arms, but again, they remained neutral. And actually, Great Britain's sending ships and stuff like that to the Confederacy. The United States was actually paid for that after an international tribune that had Great Britain pay the United States for the damages that was done by the warships that they sent to the Confederacy. Right. So again, she's not even telling the whole story. And the woke version of the story that she's telling, again, is basically false because Britain was neutral. They were neutral. Okay. Again, it's just so funny how these people that want to get history right seem to always be getting history wrong. Reminds me of the 1619 Project, where they basically make the argument that the American Revolution happened over slavery. Right. Again, absolutely amazing stuff. She also left out the part about how the Trent Affair actually led to a clamping down on the Atlantic slave trade, okay? Because the U.S. Navy and the British Navy decided to partner in clamping down on slavery. Again, totally leaves out that part as well, too. Again, this is pathetic, right? This is, again, these are not serious people. These are people searching for a reason to feel victimized, right? Searching for a reason to cry racism. It's so embarrassing.
Pay me and my family reparations for what the Vikings did to us.
Well, I think you should seek it out.
Who's going to?
Explore it.
Seek it out.
Explore it.
So literally,
Educate us.
so we go back over
Educate
every
it.
invasion,
Okay.
every
And
bad
this is what
thing.
and this
Hang
is
on,
what
let
upsets me.
me finish.
It is the
Let's try and have a
ideology of
conversation.
denial.
No,
It's
it's
the
not.
ideology of
It's not, I'm
denial,
not
Piers.
denying anything happened.
So then let's deal
No,
with it.
what I'm
Let's
saying is
address it.
once you start this woke rampage, there is no end. A bit like the statues of historical figures.
But we
They're
don't-
all...
but-
Guess
but-
what?
we
Hang on,
don't-
let me finish. Ladies, give me a moment. All historical figures are flawed. You can find flaws in Mandela, in Gandhi, and Churchill.
And also MLK as well too. I was surprised the feminists, they haven't come out to MLK, right? For what MLK allegedly, him and his pals allegedly did to women, okay? According to the FBI, right? That was spying on MLK, okay? Now, if you guys want to go read about that, you can read about that. But I'm just saying, he's right. This is why it doesn't make sense to try to cancel people who were great historical figures because they were flawed. Everybody has flaws. Everybody has skeletons in their closet, okay? I would argue that historical figures, because what it takes to actually be somebody that is a historical figure, right, to change the world, most likely there is another side of that person that's extremely effed up, right? I mean, that's just what it is, okay? But just because there a certain side of people that's extremely effed up, that doesn't take away from all the good that they've done for society. And what's amazing to me is that, again, they will look to cancel people, like a Lincoln, right, or Teddy Roosevelt, or, a president of the United States for, they wasn't as nice to black people as we think they should have been. They'll try to cancel them for that. But George Floyd, though, they'll put him on a pedestal, right? When this guy did nothing but terrorize the black community, okay? Did nothing but terrorize the black community. It's absolutely amazing how it works.
That's why they had to be boarded up, their statues at Parliament Square, so the mob didn't attack them.
Yes.
But if we take this route, everything, all the time, we have to be apologizing, paying for. Why? How does that move us on?
What's wrong with an apology? Nothing is wrong with that.
Well, it's never just an apology, right? You always gonna want more. People been apologizing for slavery for the longest time, and these people are still asking for more. They're demanding in California $5 million. Actually, no, $5 million ain't enough, right? It ain't enough. Not only do you need to pay the $5 million, you need to forgive student loan debt, wipe away all personal credit debt, no taxes, right? Free language courses so that, the wokes can learn Swahili, right? I'm just saying, that quite literally is what these people are asking for. An apology is not enough. Nothing will ever be enough, okay? And the more you give these people, the more they're going to want, because these people gain power and control from crying victimhood. Everything is racist, right? We're owed for everything. That is why people should just stop apologizing, right? Apologize for what? Nobody needs to apologize for slavery anymore, right? Nobody alive today had anything to do with it. So there's no need to apologize for it.
If you,
I'm very sorry that hundreds of years ago people behaved
It's
badly.
not anything to do with hundreds of years. We acknowledge it. We always do that. That is what history
Why
does.
should footballers have to remove crests
It's not-
that contain
it's not a-
images of ships, which, according to many historians, were adopted as an emblem 35 years after slavery was abolished?
Well, it was abolished, but it wasn't over. Okay, and that's
So
the
all
point.
are all ships
Well, no,
racist?
we don't know that, but we need to
Are all
investigate.
ships racist?
We need to investigate it.
We need to investigate if all ships are racist. Boy. You can't make this stuff up. This is insane. This is insanity. These are the people that we're dealing with here, guys. We need to investigate if all ships are racist. This is how these people stay employed, bruh. This is the hustle. This is the grip. This is the game. Everything is racist. Therefore, we got to investigate. Pay me money. Give me more money. Let's spend more taxpayer funds on making sure that said thing is not linked to racism or slavery. It's a grip, bruh. These are not serious people.
Why not? What's wrong with that?
All ships could be racist.
Why are you going to make a generalization about it?
You see how
Why you
ridiculous
gonna-
this sounds?
That's a
Disingenuous
that's
now,
a
and
ridiculous
I think
point,
he
and you
knows
are.
that.
All right.
You are.
I think he knows
You
So
are.
you think
and
we
I
should-
think
you
the
think-
Irish
you
should
think-
talk to the
Oh.
Norwegians.
No,
It's a
I
good
think-
idea.
honestly,
I
I've
think
got-
the Irish should talk.
And also
to.
the
Why
Italians
not?
and the Romans.
Why
Wow.
not? Why
Wow.
not? Why
I
not?
think you're
What's
right.
going to happen about the
Why
Romans?
not? Why not?
Why
not?
I need
Why not?
reparations
It's
for what
all
Rome did
I
to
think
us.
the Irish should talk to the Icelanders.
Oh, it's
because
preposterous,
it was a slave.
Bonnie.
No, it's not preposterous. It's good
No,
dialogue.
you know what it is?
Everybody should be a victim, right? Everybody should be a victim. If you feel victimized, if somebody did something to your ancestors bad in the past, you should feel like a victim. You should seek reparations. Again, this is just, it's pathetic. It really is.
Here's what it is. It's exhausting.
Well, that's different.
Honestly,
well,
you know
if
what,
it's
Piers?
this
exhausting,
woke
it's different.
mentality
It's
is
different.
so exhausting.
Piers,
I feel myself
I'm
literally
so
getting
sorry.
tired as I
You
listen
feel
to it.
exhausted. Try being a black
no, you
female.
shouldn't. You
That's
shouldn't.
I
exhausting.
am
Hang on.
sure being a
That's
black
wait a minute,
female can be
minute.
wonderful.
Wait a
I can
minute.
have its
We are-
challenges.
We don't need to have this
Yeah,
kind of
trust me.
argument.
Again, you see what's going on here? Oh, you feel exhausted. Try being a black woman. Because being a black woman is so hard. It's so tough. Woe is me. I'm a black woman. I'm black and I got a vagina. That's for life is so tough. Again, these people live to be victims, right? This is their mentality. You're saying this is how they think. Because I'm black and I'm a woman, therefore I'm automatically a victim, right? You're living in a first world country. Thank God you ain't living in Africa, right? Where your life would objectively be much worse. Absolutely amazing stuff. Ungrateful people.
Walking around being me ain't no better roses
If you're
either.
talking about being exhausted, it's the exhaustion of the pursuit
All right.
of knowledge.
Let me bring in
that.
our very patient third guest from across the pond, Hotep Jesus. Hotep, you've been listening to this. I'm under attack here.
Nah, no.
All right. Hotep, my general point is this. I think slavery was horrific. I think if you basically chart back from almost any family in Britain and America, you'll find some evidence somewhere that someone in the family probably was employed in using slavery when it was going on. But I just don't understand the point of this constant series now of recriminations, reparations, apologies, guilt trips, and so on. I don't know what point it serves.
I worked at a tech company once, and we know how rife they are with leftism. And in casual conversation in the office, I said, I want to be a national master in chess one day. And this white girl said to me, she said, don't you feel offended that they used the term master in the title? And I just looked at her like, that thought never crossed my mind. The same thing if I were to go to the harbor and I would see a ship, I would not think of slavery. Right. Exactly. There's a huge fascination with slavery amongst Black people where our educational system, our upbringing has tied us to this travesty in human history and made us want to identify with it instead of identifying with richer parts of our history. Now, here's the issue that this comes down to. Women are going to see the world, frankly, different from men. Women are very emotional. So, of course, they're going to be worried about, what's on the badge and all this stuff. when we look at the UK, right? The UK has about 4 million starving children.
What is this?
Right now, and that doubled since the past 2
He's so
years.
triggered, bro.
Do you think that children that are hungry care about some badges? They can't eat football badges.
Facts.
You know what leftism does is they try to sidestep the real dilemmas and worry about all of these frills on the outside, on the
Well,
exterior.
you know what, Hotep? Let me
not getting
just,
to the root of the
Hotep,
problem.
apart from saying that you've made 2 really good friends here with your women get too emotional.
One from the south side of Chicago. Really impressed, brother.
And I'll let you 3 deal with that after the show. But
Really impressed.
I've got 2 things to say to what you just said. One is there was a genuine debate in Australia several years ago because an academic went on the airways and claimed that chess, which you just talked about, was racist because the white pieces went first, right? And I remember thinking at the time, the only time anyone in the world would think that that was the case was if some academic decided to pop his head up and go, it's racist. Nobody actually believes chess is racist for that reason. And secondly, on your second point about current things, I read today that there are between 7 and 8 million slaves in India alone at the moment, now.
Correct.
Now, if the Guardian newspaper wants to launch a campaign against slavery in India, I'm all in. I'm all in for any current slavery going on anywhere in the world. I will join that campaign. But going back several hundred years to a spurious argument, which turns out may not even be historically correct, about badges on football players where they show ships, therefore all ships are racist and therefore they must be removed, to me is preposterous.
Well, they did the same thing here in America. They wanted to remove Aunt Jemima from product packaging. They want to tear down statues. They're tearing down Lee, Robert E. Lee, I believe his name was, famous
family
general.
wants that to happen, brother.
A whole bunch of people are involved in what Jay-Z has a quote. It goes, moral victories are for minor league coaches. When you really want to get into the nitty gritty of things, you look at more important issues than just badges on a football uniform. I just don't get it.
Do you know something? You just used the phrase nitty gritty. That itself has been banned now.
No.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yes, it has.
No, it hasn't.
No,
banned it?
I have
Banned
seen
it.
people say
Well,
that is a
banned it.
racist term.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, and they and historians
Listen,
have told them that they're
I'm
wrong.
sitting
Right.
here.
So
I'm
you accept
sitting
that
here.
these historians who pop their head up saying all this stuff can be
'Cause it's been
completely
researched.
wrong.
It's
First of
been
all, I want to
debated.
get your collective reaction to the suggestion that this is really a female thing. That
That's-
you women are a little over emotional
That
about
is,
badges.
I've never heard
Yeah.
a man say that for a long time.
Right.
So that's
I think that's
an
more
hour.
In the interest of fair play,
that's
what is
a
your
long
response
time
to
And I would have
Hotep?
liked to ask him what he thought about the American football clubs who have changed their names because they referenced various members of society who didn't think that it was appropriate that they should be called those names. We have rugby clubs who have changed their names because they didn't think that it was an appropriate.
But we're not
thing to
talking
call
about
them.
Stupid. It's stupid. That's what I think. Right? It's just dumb. It's dumb. Anybody changing their name, like changing your name from Indians or like when the Redskins, the Washington Red, I still call them Redskins. When they change their name to the Commanders, ridiculous, right? I hated it. That's why I'm just like, nah, they're the Redskins to me. They will always be the Redskins. You can cry about it, right? You can cry about it. I don't care.
We're not
But we
talking about
look at-
potentially
just to-
inappropriate or inflammatory names
So-
which have evolved over years. We're talking about
But it also went with the
images
emblem.
of boats.
Or it also went with the
They're
emblem.
boats.
Well, I know
We-
what
we-
they are, but it's what they
can I
represent.
just say-
Piers.
Yeah, Hotep, come in.
Yeah, please, Hotep.
Yeah, because she wanted to know my opinion on, I
It's
believe
Paula.
it's
It's
the
Paula,
Washington
by the way.
Commanders now.
No. We have names, brother.
I'm sorry.
We have names.
Say that again.
Brother.
Who's the sister that
My name is
addressed me
Bonnie.
about the
This
football?
is Paula.
We're sisters
Now we're
now.
sisters. That's so nice. Thank you. Proceed.
Sister Paula?
Proceed.
It's Bonnie.
Okay.
It's Bonnie and Paula.
From the
Okay.
south side of Chicago.
Love y'all. Great
Okay,
energy.
brother, keep
and I'm
going.
on your side. But when I see a
side is
football
that?
What
team
side is
change its
that?
names
Yeah.
to Commanders, I'm like, what is that?
Are you insulted?
It's a
Do you
joke
feel
to me.
insulted? Do you feel insulted?
Well, Commander is
No,
surely.
no, I don't
surely
feel
Commander
insulted.
Is also,
I'm just-
do you feel shaken
But
up?
surely here's the
No,
point.
no,
Hotep,
it's
Hotep, isn't the word commander itself? It doesn't that suggest white supremacy because most commanders around that time were white.
And you're
so
named, and you're named
you change
after,
it to something that
you're-
also
you're-
is racist.
and
There
you're
is no
named-
word you
and,
can
and
use.
you're named after an Egyptian pharaoh. So give us. Are you offended by all of this or what?
I'm not offended. Why would that's the whole thing? People are offended
Well,
by
you're
the name of the
offended by
team.
people
I'm not
wanting-
offended.
You're offended
no, I'm not
by
offended.
people. Listen, you're offended by people who want to actually pursue an injustice from the past. It's not a strange thing. It's not unusual. It is not
No, I'm
unusual
not.
thing
No,
for
that,
human
no,
beings
no,
to
you
do.
can't conflate those two things.
Oh, I'm doing it.
I am. I am for that.
Okay, let
I am
Hotep
for that.
respond.
Well, I'm not for it, right? Because I'm tired of it. I mean, they're not pursuing an injustice in the past. No, they're pursuing victimhood, right? You're trying to figure out a way to say, woe is me, I'm a victim. Look at this patch, right? This ship on a badge is racist, right? This is white supremacy once again. Again, this is not real. Like, come on, man.
Yes, sir.
No, what she said is just inaccurate. She tried to conflate two things. She tried to say, I didn't care about the travesties and conflate that with something about the football team is going to change that.
Right.
No, I agree with you. There are real issues that need to be dealt with. Changing the football team is basically not tackling the problem.
Exactly
You're ignoring
right.
it. It's a way to
It is
waste time.
tackling
It's
the
a way to
problem.
waste a
Sir,
budget.
If we,
Yeah, it's a way for them to make money. There you go. That's what it is. It's about them making money, bro. That's all it is. Again, you gotta find something to be upset about, right? It's like I try to tell you guys with the far left radical LGBTQ thing. It's like, bro, we thought this was over at gay marriage, right? You got all your rights, right? It's done. Okay, we're good. You're it's the same as everybody else. No, right? It went to nah. We need to now allow teachers to talk to kids about sex, right? Kids have to be able to get sex changes. Biological boys need to be compete against biological girls in school, or else you're a bigot, or else you're attacking our rights. Again, it's never going to be enough, right? Nothing will ever be enough for these people.
if we admit to, and this is in psychoanalysis, that there is such a thing as generational trauma, okay, it does exist. It does exist in families, and it can exist in a people. Now, I'm not going to go all the way and say, do this, tear statues down, because I don't think taking a statue down solves anything.
You're going to go after the badges on football.
No, I'm not going to go after
Going
badges.
after the debate.
But the
Piers.
debate
We're going
is
after the
okay.
debate.
There is no debate.
There
They're
is a
badges.
debate.
Listen.
There is
But
a
this goes
debate.
back to the gender
Everyone hold
conversation.
their horses. If that isn't a racist term. I don't know. Maybe horses get offended.
Well, if you keep saying it might
Here's
be.
my point, Paula. Everybody is offended by everything. And so
I
once
don't
you
agree with you,
once
Piers.
you assume that we have to start feeling guilty for our past, there is no end to it.
Who's
I
talking
think
about
the
guilt?
Irish. I think the
Who's
Irish
talking
should
about
go
guilt?
after the
That's a very
Icelanders
emotional term
because
to
the
use
Irish
in
were
a
enslaved
debate.
by Iceland. I think they should
It's
do
a
it. Why
very
not?
emotional.
Yeah, it's an opportunity to make more money, right? It's an opportunity to cry victimhood about something. Again, I mean, these people are just insufferable, bruh. Like, I don't know how he sat through that and then lose his mind, because it's just like you can't reason with people who legitimately believe that we should waste taxpayer dollars and funds and resources and brain power investigating whether or not a badge is racist because it has a ship on it, right? Incredible stuff. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.